Hey everybody, Chris here. In this video, we're going to be talking about Dogecoin waves and the next bull run. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out as well as when I do live streams. And as I'm beginning this video, we're going to be talking about the news of the day. And then we'll get into the charts, looking at Bitcoin, ETH, and Dogecoin. Dogecoin currently at 702. Again, this 7-cent line here has been a magnet. This magnet we've been watching for over a week, where Dogecoin, even if it goes on a run up, here we went up to 7.3 cents, came right back down to the 7-cent line, and we have had dips down to 689, 690, and each time we come back up to 7 cents. And this is how we are in August 2026 in the summer of a bear market. Bitcoin is at 64,400 right now. We were watching the 63,000 line because we thought that may have been the equivalent of the 7-cent Dogecoin line, but Bitcoin has broken out a bit above that, over 64,000 now, and 64,000 is looking like that may be a new higher support on Bitcoin. ETH is moving up over 1,900 now at 1,920, $1,920 for ETH. But it doesn't seem to be having the same kind of momentum as Dogecoin, and XRP is acting more like Dogecoin, with the $1 line being the magnet. We have had 4 moves below $1, and each time XRP gets bought back up to the dollar line. That is acting very much like the Dogecoin 7-cent line. Tracer says today the Fed will release minutes of the July FOMC meeting today, discussing U.S. inflation, interest rates, and liquidity injections. Don't be confused. This is not Fed Chair Warsh coming out and saying anything. There's no press conference, news conference, Fed meeting, FOMC. If you read any of that stuff on X or somewhere else, that's not true. These are just the minutes. But Tom Crown always goes over them on his channel to see if the board members were a little more hawkish or dovish than what was portrayed for the last FOMC meeting. There may be volatility, usually not. It's not as big of a deal. So just letting you know about that. Meanwhile, Michael Saylor is saying for MicroStrategy holders, and again, we check in on MicroStrategy and Stretch, those two stocks, as well as anything else going on with Michael Saylor, because he's still the largest Bitcoin holder outside of Satoshi. And he's got a warning. He says that MicroStrategy shareholders should be prepared to have difficult years. This is not what you want to hear from a CEO. Like I said, I am not buying MicroStrategy shares of stock right now. Many people like to ride the MicroStrategy stock instead of the Bitcoin because you'll get greater returns in a bull market. That may be the case, or has been the case before, but right now, because Michael Saylor and Strategy are selling so many MicroStrategy shares in order to prop up Stretch, that there's a lot of weakness in the MicroStrategy stock right now. And if the CEO is saying prepare to have difficult years, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. Meanwhile, Paul Atkins, the new SEC chair, remember Gary Genser's gone, so we got Paul saying, look, the SEC, we're just moving forward on regulations for crypto assets for ourselves. We're just going to make our own rules because the Clarity Act doesn't look like it's going to get passed. Now the Congress will re-meet in September and there's going to have a vote, but it's not looking good. So they're just saying, look, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do regulations on our own, and which is fine, and it is good for the banks and the institutions and all that. But for you and me, if we want to have the same kind of gains, percentage gains that we've had, let's say in the glorious crypto years of 2021, I don't think this is going to help us. And plus, this is more about stable coins and rails and regulations and government oversight and all of that stuff. Do we really want that in crypto? I just raised the question. The big storm is coming for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is forming an ascending channel after the crash from 83K. No, it wasn't really a crash. It was a pullback. It's a bear market. Most traders see this as a recovery. I see a trap. That's right, we could have a bull trap here. So looking at the Bitcoin chart, this move up here could be another bull trap. And it could just be Bitcoin reverting back to the mean, typically what we would see there. But Weimar's saying, look, if there is a big pump here, it will certainly be a bull trap, and we could be then heading lower. I don't see this kind of move happening right now, again, unless there's some big black swan event. But Bitcoin sellers are at their second most exhausted level in history. So this is interesting. This red line here is called seller exhaustion. Seller exhaustion. Now, I don't know what that actually is in terms of like data, what that data point is. But it is at the lowest point probably it's ever been at. We look at 2022, 2018, and each time we hit this level, Bitcoin then turned around. That's 4-year cycle bear market stuff, and we're there again. That doesn't mean that this can't continue, or it can't have a little run up and then come back down again like we saw in 2022 before the eventual bottom. That could still be coming. Meanwhile, we've got ETH and Tom Lee, $1,920 for one ETH right now. How does Ethereum get to $250,000? And it's just like, I mean, he would love it because then he'd be ultra rich. But it's like, come on, this kind of talk just doesn't help anybody, in my opinion. He's talking about AI agents reshaping the economy. But going out there and saying this $250,000, I mean, this guy has been wrong so many times. He's $8 billion in the red on his ETH holdings for Bitmine. And it's just like, on we go. Meanwhile, we got Dogecoin. Our friend Javon Marks. Dogecoin continues to hold, maintain macro higher levels. Sites remain on a massive over 930% move to all-time highs at 73 cents. The historical trend suggests $2 plus. Now, he's been calling for this $2 thing. And again, this is a logarithmic chart. We look at Dogecoin and how Dogecoin has moved down to the 7-cent range where we are right now. The 2024 run that we had here pretty much gets discounted, and he goes back to 2021. Now, 2021, as I have said many times on this channel, was the overhyped year of Elon and all of that, and you just can't count that. I don't think you can count that. And yes, it did happen. There was a point that Dogecoin hit that, and we may never hit that again. There is a chance that could happen, and I think we have to look more at what happened between 2022 through 2025 as more of a key indicator in terms of where Dogecoin goes from here. Our friend Lucas says, good morning, Doge. So I wish good morning to all of you. Happy Wednesday, Dogecoin to the moon and all of that, because, we chill here. We chill here hanging out with Doge. Doge test key support at 6.9, yes, 69. Sellers keeping pressure. And that's what we have. We have this sort of sideways motion here with Dogecoin just kind of lethargic right around 7 cents. That is what we are seeing right now with Dogecoin. Momentum weakens. All that. This is typical bear market stuff. So if we look at 6.9 cents as new resistance, we look at 7.08 cents as resistance. 6.9 is support. Sorry, 7.08 as resistance. This is the range that Dogecoin is trading in right now. So we will watch until we see a decisive break above 7.08 cents or below 6.9 cents. I'm not chasing the move. Patience and technical range plays remain my preferred approach this week. A lot of us sitting on our hands waiting to see what we do for the price of Dogecoin. Meanwhile, Doge testing multi-year support. Analysts watch for breakout. Now, we talked about this 20-cent thing on our previous live stream, and when this breakout could happen. And it will happen, just not anytime soon. We're not going to see this big explosion, in my opinion. We looked at the CVDD channel and how Dogecoin is scraping the bottom, similar to what Dogecoin did before in 2022 and then back in 2018 with, again, another blip down for COVID in March of 2020. So here we are again. So we are visiting these bottoms before we start moving back up. We can look at these colored bands as being waves, and we can look at where these waves continue to move a little bit higher here, not this huge jump like we had in 2021. And I think we will be looking closer at that. However, we also have our friend Crypto Patel, who's talking about a wave analysis here. So here's Crypto Patel, and he's saying the macro fractal, a big wave 5, could be loading. So this could be the next big move for Dogecoin. Again, I discount this right now. I would love for it to happen and Doge be able to go up to $2, $3. I mean, Javon thinks $2. Others are talking about these. But again, we're looking at 2021 and the big move up we had in 2021 with then the breakdown into the 2022 bear market and this accumulation zone. We take the accumulation zone from 2022, 2023, those summers, we extend it across, and we're scraping the top of that right now. Is there another move lower before we go higher? That's that next thing. I am still waiting. I still have a lot of dry powder on the sideline. I'm looking at the first week of September, most likely as the next buy time in terms of schedule. But then his technical structure, previous cycle at 26,800% expansion after accumulation. Now, that wasn't the previous cycle. That was the cycle before. Again, 4-year cycles generally, and 2021 was that big move. Now, he does show the 2024 move here at 745%. I think that's more what we should be looking at, is this, because this is the Doge of today. And we don't know what Elon Musk's involvement with Dogecoin is going to be and what sort of hype we're going to have in the future. But it is real, and there is FOMO that does kick in. We had an early 2024 move up to 22 cents, and then we had the late 2024 move up to 48 cents. So we look at those moves there, and we say, okay, these are the types of big moves that Dogecoin can make. As we enter into the next bull market after we have a reset year. And that reset year can have moves up. Dogecoin can have big moves, not the giant moves that will come later. And that's the kind of pattern I could see moving forward. So we'll be looking at these sort of waves of Dogecoin, because Dogecoin does go vertical at times. And depending on where we are in the market, we could see a retrace back to key accumulation zone. That can still happen. I think we're going to be a level up this next time, and we're not going to see a dip in 2020 like we had 2023 back to 5.75 cents. I think we're sitting at a higher point now. And where do we go from here? What's the next move here? Ted says, look, it's a peak bear market right now. Just look at the futures volumes on major exchanges. Very little interest in crypto right now. That's exactly when people like you and me, who are still here, can quietly accumulate before the masses come back. And that's particularly true for Dogecoin, because Dogecoin works on FOMO. And then once price moves, then people come back. But we're here right now. We're here right now. Be proud of yourself for still showing up and grinding through this like we are. So the next cycle, regulatory clarity with the Clarity Act. You already know how I feel about that. Tokenization of real world assets. That's going to continue to happen. But even those cryptos that were behind this early aren't going anywhere. And in fact, some of them like Peak are even like still falling back. They get a little run and they just come right back. Growing stablecoin adoption does not help Dogecoin. AI agents in the emerging AI economy. Well, Tom Lee thinks ETH is going to go to $25,000 in ETH because of this. I mean, that would be glorious for the whole crypto market to go on this huge run up. And I would love that. I just keep things real here, be a little more realistic. Potential capital flows from the AI boom into crypto. That's the rotation. Are we going to see a rotation out of stocks into crypto once crypto starts moving back up again? That we will be watching. Crypto is becoming increasingly connected to the broader financial system, technology landscape, which is why I don't think we're going to see the same kind of percentage moves that we had back in 2021. I don't think we're going to see that at that level again. So right now, the strategy remains stay patient, keep accumulating, keep learning, and be positioned before the crowd comes back. That's what we can do right now because we can't control the future, but we can control what we do now. So that's what we have for today. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about a wave move for Dogecoin in the future and how that can play out. We'll continue to watch that through the fall, obviously, as we see where the bottom of this bear market ends up with Doge, and we'll start mapping out the future then. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.